Hey, I'm Kevin Dairaghi. Thank you for watching the Kevin Dairaghi Show. Today, I am with my friend Adam Droege with CRS. Adam.
Yep, my name's Adam Droege. Kevin and I have been buddies for a long time. We run a property management company called Complete Realty Solutions, where we help investors manage their rental properties. We do anything from construction, maintenance, to realty sales and acquisitions. My name is Adam Droege, and I'm with Complete Realty Solutions. We are a property management company that offers a full service of maintenance, construction, realty sales, and property acquisitions. And I am super proud to be a sponsor of the Kevin Dairaghi Show.
How long have you been a property manager?
Been property managing for about 10 years now.
So why did you choose property management?
That's a lie. About 8 years now.
10's fine.
Yeah.
Why'd you get into property management?
We actually started by managing our own properties, and then we had a buddy ask, will you manage these? We had another buddy ask, will you manage these? And before you know it, we had to decide if we wanted to have a full-blown property management company or if we just wanted to get rid of them all. Did we make the right decision? I don't know.
So is it easier, was it harder, do you think, starting up property management or scaling up property management?
It was harder getting to the point to where you could even think about scaling, right? So going from 0 to 200 doors was not as incredibly difficult. The difficult part was just keeping your head above water and keeping up with everything, right? But then the reality is once you get to 200 doors, you actually have to start thinking about the concept of scaling. And that was going from 200 to 1,000 basically. And we feel like we're, not at complete scale, right? That's more of like a corporation. We don't know if we're going to get that big, but we've reached mini scale to where we have departments segmented, people segmented in those departments. They're doing the things that they like to do and they are doing them well and repetitively, right? And they're not task switching all day long, which is what happens when you don't have scale. And we're just at a point to where it has become much more efficient. We're able to handle more doors per employee than we ever had before.
So Complete Realty Services means you do property management and construction, and you're also an agent?
Yes, so we have a small realty team, a few realtors that will help these clients buy or sell their homes. We have our managed construction teams that will help work on the properties, right, and maintain them. And then we have a property acquisitions team that will actually help us go purchase rental properties for our own portfolios.
Nice. And who's your brokerage?
EXP Realty, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, we've been with them, it'll be 2 years in March.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anybody in particular your sponsor?
Yeah, we have a couple really very cool sponsors. My upline, you would not believe my upline. It gets cooler every step of the way. Starting out with the least cool is my next sponsor up. Kevin Dairaghi is my direct sponsor, but then boy, do we get cool after that. Dave O'Nanion after that, and I think there's this Jay Kenner guy that's above him. We just keep getting cooler, so
that's awesome. Now your property management company, CRS, is getting to a point where you have people that do the work. You don't have to swing the hammer or the paintbrush on these jobs. Like, do you like managing people more than properties now?
Well, luckily I have some really amazing business partners that help out with a lot of the managing of the people, right? Corey, being one who Corey, he's incredible. He overlooks the management division, and then Dave overlooks the maintenance construction division, right? And so what's funny is I actually am swinging hammers on houses again. I'll go a couple days a week in the field so I can work directly with our teams. We got 4 teams now in the field, right, that are swinging hammers, and we have 4 project leads running each one of those crews. And so a couple days a week, I will go and join one of those different crews each month, right, and see how they're working, how our processes are. Just because people are finishing the work in the field, you're like, oh, things are going great and everything's going perfectly out there. And then you get out there and you say, okay, well, there are some things in our operations that can get a little bit better, not because of the people in the field, but because of us providing them the playbook, right? And so you look back and say, the inefficiencies in the field are actually caused by us in the office. We design things sometimes in the office based on the best way to bill them, to receive the bills, the invoices, right? But sometimes they're not always designed around the best way for them to do their work in the field, right? And so by looking at it exclusively from their point of view and saying, what's the best order of operations to complete this job in, right? How should supplies be delivered to this job? How many people should be on this job, right? Looking at each one individually. And our guys are doing a great job, right? They get the work orders, they're showing up, they're doing what they're supposed to do. But we're doing a bit of a poor job providing the playbook for them to go off of, right? And so what we're redoing now is working on that playbook and saying, how can we provide even a better platform than to work off of with the, with the construction work. As you know, you've ran several construction crews over your years and you've swung a hammer yourself. And a lot of people know how to do individual stuff like flooring, painting, right? Install bathroom, install kitchens, but it takes a different person to understand how a job should run from start to finish and that order of operations. And if you're doing the flooring before the paint's done, right? That's cool, you got both of them done, but because you did the flooring first, now you're spending an extra 10% covering up the floor, right? And because you have to spend that extra 10% covering the floor, you need supplies to cover up that floor. That costs more money. And so if you do that on every job, right, you're cutting right into your profit margin. And that's just one little example of, dozens of examples in the field of order of operations and how it could go in the wrong order and actually add to your cost while completing the same amount of work. You hear people saying, Kevin, we've heard it for years. People say, I want to buy 10 rental properties so I can leave my job and get into real estate full time, right? And in today's market, I believe investing in real estate is still the number one investment that you can make with your money. I truly believe that. But we're in a climate to where you don't really get much cash flow, right? Unless you're putting huge chunks of money down. You're putting 30, 40, 50% down, you get cash flow. If you're a standard investor and putting 20, 25% down or even less, right? You're really not going to cash flow much on these properties. You're actually, most of the time, only going to pour more money into the properties than what you're taking out. Even if you get good properties and good tenants, the reality is that even if a tenant stays on a property on average for 3 years is what we're finding, right? After that 3 years, you're going to have a turnover. And even if you go fast, it's going to be 2 or 3 months vacant, right? And you're paying your property manager, so you're going to have a turnover fee, right? We're going to go faster than almost anybody can do it on their own. But at the same time, there's still cost involved in that. And so what I always tell investors, if they want to buy real estate, do it. Yes, absolutely. It's the best investment you can make with your money, but don't expect to buy 10 properties and leave your job. If you buy 10 properties, you'd be more likely to get a second job to actually pay for those investment properties. There's still no better investment in the world, in my opinion. So do it. Yes, just go in with the proper expectations. Sometimes people will bring these properties to us, right? And they think that we're some sort of magic makers, saviors, that we can take this property that needs $40,000 worth of work and do it for 10 grand. We're just normal people doing the best we can. We can't rehab a $40,000 project for 10 grand. We just can't do it. And so they bought it with their agent and they were told numbers that maybe are not actually accurate. And so they come to us and they have this money pit, which they should have recognized when they bought it, right? And they should have analyzed that when they bought it. And now we're supposed to somehow save this money pit when we're just doing what should have been expected the whole time, right, to complete this job. And we kind of come off looking as, you're doing too much work to my property, you're doing too expensive stuff, you're spending too much money, things like that. And we can't spend their money without approval, by the way. But, they will look at us and say, you guys are actually the problem here, when the problem was how you bought the property, right? We're just the person that has to play out the plan that should have been in place from the second you bought the property.
So do you like doing property management?
Yeah, I enjoy it. I think where people get caught up in property management is they kind of look at everybody on a spreadsheet, right? And say, how are they performing? And they take away a lot of that personal relationship out of it. And the reality is of what we're doing is we are providing housing for people, right? And it's a very special thing to provide housing for people. It's one of the most important things in their life, in fact. And so it's understandable that people at times get emotional about one of the most important things in life. And so when they call us steamed up and say, whether they weren't able to get a hold of somebody or they thought they entered this work order a different way, or, they got into a car accident and they can't pay their rent or whatever it is, right? And they call us heated and emotional. We have to actually take the emotions out of our responses and say, this is the most important thing or one of the most important things in their life, which is their housing. And they're not mad at us. They are emotionally involved in this situation that only we can solve, right? So if we look at it more of we're helping people in one of the most important things in their lives, it takes away a lot of that the worst parts about property management is people are always mad at you, right? They don't call you when everything's going perfect and say, boy, it was a great, you really did a great job maintaining my house this month, or thanks for collecting my rent properly and processing it, right? You don't hear from them. You don't really hear many compliments in property management. It's only when things go bad. The house is going bad, the software is going bad, the owner won't do updates to the property, right? And so that's really where property management can be difficult. And there's just things out of our control, right? Whether it's the weather, the roof starts leaking and during a big rainstorm and it's pouring in the roof and we can't fix it that second, right? So there are things out of our control, but if we remember we're truly helping people with the most important part of their lives, or one of them, it helps it put it into perspective and deal with all that emotional onslaught every day, which is really what property management is. It's really problem management, and that's what we try to look at it as.
That was really good. I was going to set you up. Like your advice you actually gave me earlier about take the emotions out of it.
Yeah.
It's not a emotional deal. Our job is just to...
And it's easy to get emotional in property management because you answer the phone and they start yelling at you, right? And you're like, whoa, why are you yelling at me? If you take it all personally, you're just going to think people are just mad at you all day. And half the time people don't even know you. You're the person that answers the phone when they call and need something, right? And so, we try to just tell our people in-house the same thing. It's like, let's just take a breath. Let's understand what they're truly trying to say without the yelling or the anger, right? And then see how we solve the problem the best way.